Aloha and welcome back. This is a pretty sad story. I haven't watched it all. I just watched the Anna Navarro part, so I'm going to rewind that and then watch the rest of it with you guys and react. But this is going to be like some of the true heartbreaking or bad repercussions of a Trump presidency. And we've already seen some, but
Anna, I see you there, and
I haven't been able to
it's a
stop
painful
thinking
story.
about this little girl the whole day. And look, when I did the CNN documentary on the Latino vote, I remember sitting down with a young man named Emmanuel, who told me exactly this story. Who told me that when Trump became president in 2016, he was in high school and he got called a dirty wetback. And he told me this through tears. And he had not been able to tell his mother. She was hearing it for the first time as he was telling me. And this is happening all over America because of what has been unleashed, because of the portrayal of Latinos in particular and immigrants as criminals and as bad people. The TPS holders, the Venezuelans, as if they're all part of Tren de Aragua. They don't even know how to say Tren de Aragua, so now they call it TDA. There are kids being bullied. There are kids being targeted. And there are kids who are terrified that their parents, US citizen kids, terrified today that their parents are going to be taken away, that they're going to go home and the home is going to be empty. And so that is what has been unleashed on America.
it's crazy.
And we don't know all the details here about what happened. We don't even know her parents' immigration status, but that's
Right.
it's almost like beside the point. I mean,
And I mean, at this point, will her mom go on TV and say, yes, I am undocumented, knowing what's happening to people when they go on TV and that then they get picked up by ICE? But yeah, this is still under investigation. It's being investigated by the school police. And what the mom told CNN is that the girl committed suicide after she was being relentlessly bullied and taunted at school about the family's immigration status. Kids saying to her, we're going to call ICE, they're going to come to your house, they're going to pick up your parents, you're going to stay alone. And the worst part about it is that she says that she didn't even know that this was happening. The girl was getting counseling at school where she was reporting the bullying. The school apparently was aware of it, but she said that she only learned about it from investigators. So she's saying, you know,
Wow,
maybe I
that's
could have
crazy.
done something. I didn't notice any signs in my daughter that she was going through this situation, but if the school had said to me, you know, she's being bullied about this, maybe she could have done something. And that's what's even more heartbreaking about this story. There was a funeral for her today.
But
It wasn't in
then,
her
if the school knew, also, isn't there like a zero bullying tolerance or zero tolerance bullying thing? I forget how they call it. But you're not allowed to bully at school. Aren't you supposed to send the bullies home or get them in trouble? They should call their parents or something like that.
schoolmates showed up, and she was just remembered as a happy, joyous girl.
this is every parent's nightmare, just on a human level. But we're just at a moment where we have to talk about this because there are 4.4 million American children, U.S. citizen children, who are born with an undocumented parent. And what happens to them?
It's sad, to be honest, Abby. It's horrible to have an 11-year-old girl suicide herself over bullying. Bullying is real, and obviously, they didn't catch it in time, or she didn't report it on time, or I don't know what it was. But the fact of the matter here is, we have a system that's broken, and people are making fun of someone's parents and caused her to kill herself. That is horrible.
But
Nobody
I
wants
Something
think
happening. I just want to show this because I think, and I'll let you jump in. The other part of this is that obviously deportations happen every day in this country under Democratic and Republican administrations. People who break the law, who are criminals, should be sent back or deported or jailed or whatever it is. But there's something happening also with this administration making light of the whole situation. Was a Valentine's Day post from the White House official account. Roses are red, violets are blue. Come here illegally and we'll deport you. And then another
How's that a
post
Valentine?
on social media saying ASMR. This is sort of like social media slang for kind of like a sensory experience of illegal alien deportation flight. That's what the caption was. And the operative image here is the chains. You see them there. So look, again, it's not a question of should
That's some serious
criminals
resources,
be
boy.
deported, but the idea of kind of celebrating this as something that is almost like a with a thrill down your spine. I think
I mean, but
There's
there's no
human
level
beings
of
behind
cruelty.
this, right?
This little girl's parents were not criminals.
No. Uh,
yeah.
that has
And-
not
and
been
that-
said. And there's a level
yeah.
of dehumanization and cruelty.
Even if the parents are criminals, is it your fault if your parents are criminals? She's 11. It's not like she's like, oh, hey, parents, go commit crimes for me. They were criminals that had a kid. It's not the kid's fault. I mean, well, they weren't. I'm just saying, if the kids were, if parents are criminals, like, why would that even matter to the kid? I mean, for the, whatever the kid's doing type of stuff.
Built into all of this that I think trickles down to average Americans, where they're not feeling empathy for 11-year-old girls when they're relentlessly bullying them. And it's almost become a thing where, like, threatening to call ICE on people is like a game to just further victimize these communities that are already living in paralyzing fear and anxiety. And we've seen cases like this happen.
Calling the cops on people, like the dog lady in the park. People call the cops on black people quite often too. So I mean, it's something that America has a problem with. We need to stop calling the cops on people.
Just in the last few days of, a pizza
Well, for no
shop
reason,
manager
anyway.
being fired for threatening to call ICE on his own customers, a teacher who made posts about, encouraging people to report his undocumented students. And that's having an effect. When you talk about policy and numbers of arrests, of deportations, there's people behind that, there's families behind that, and there's a real psychological and emotional effect there that we also have to talk about.
Yeah.
What is so painful about this is that this was as predictable as it is tragic. This didn't happen by accident. I mean, when you have the leader of the free world who's now saying that I'm a king, basically using every ounce of his breath and deputizing people to call people that don't look like us rapists, robbers, murderers, or they're criminals. And are they violent criminals? Are they part of gangs? Or are this just mom and dads that came over here or that have been here before? Is it really any surprise that they get vilified in the communities that they live in? I promise you that there are little girls and boys that are in their corner of their bedrooms wondering whether or not ICE is going to break into the house and take their mom and dad away. And when Tom Holman, who's running this whole operation, sits in these seats, and you say to him, Tom, can you please help me work through this? Let's say I'm the mayor of New Orleans. I want to help you get rid of all the violent criminals. You want to get rid of somebody that's violent on my street? I'm 100% in. Let's go get them. But are you going to go take grandma and grandpa and Tia? And you're going to, I'm just going to say, if they're kind of around, they're going to go. That sends shockwaves. And so what I'd say, look, we have a broken immigration system. It's been broken for a long time. Ronald Reagan actually gave the best speech about this on the last speech that he gave of his presidency. Donald Trump's got the pen. If he's so powerful and he's so tough and he's so smart, why doesn't he just ink out an immigration proposal that, by the way, we wanted to pass a couple years ago that he said, we don't want to do this. We can be tough and smart. But Americans don't want to be cruel. And you're seeing the consequence of a cruelty now that's going to have disastrous effects for kids.
Yeah, first of all, it's very, very tragic. I mean, I have a young child, 2 young kids, and you always live in the fear of the outside influences, how they're going to affect them. And so as parents, me and my wife, we constantly think about that. And so we obviously hurt for the family what they go through. But listen, I have a Mexican mom, I have a Bolivian dad. I grew up in East Los Angeles. We've always lived under the fear of La Migra coming to our neighborhoods. That has always been, that was during Reagan, that was during Clinton, that was during Bush. That has always been there.
True.
So I think we sort of weaken our argument when we just try to tie it to Trump directly.
Well, but you
We
haven't had a
overreach
president,
too
you
far.
have not.
Right. See, that's what I've been trying to tell you guys. Trump is nothing new. He's nothing real different than anybody else. He's just as hateful as Reagan was, just as hateful as Nixon was. Nixon was probably even worse than Trump, but you just got, social media now so people can talk and stuff. They couldn't do that back then, but anyway.
Not had a president like Trump use the language that he's used as aggressively as he's used it amongst. You can name every one of those presidents. You're right, Bush, Reagan, and all of them
And
spoke
none of
in
them got
different
more
ways.
Latino votes than Donald J. Trump did
That's
either.
true, but that doesn't
None
make
of
it
them
right.
got more votes than
That
Donald J.
doesn't make
Trump.
less cruel.
My friends roasted me for buying this.
Oh, that was it? Okay. I didn't know that was the end. So, yeah, that's just one of the consequences of our deportation policies. Again, Trump, not the best man in the world, but he's not that much different than any other president we've ever had. Like, they called Obama the deporter-in-chief. So, I mean, they were getting deported and messed with and called names under Obama. But, yeah, we'll leave that one here and just keep getting your news from across the spectrum.